feel like I've been holding on to you guys. Just look at my view, man. So I found this awesome free campsite, and essentially here at a campground not too far from a few state parks. And as I mentioned in a few videos, that Georgia's pretty rich with state parks, honestly. I mean, I've seen maybe 5 in the time that I've been out here, and it just seems like it's a never-ending list. Got the van all opened out behind me. It was super peaceful waking up out here. Like, check this out. So when you walk down here to the waterfront, right? There's all kinds of things moving, jumping around in this water. I saw a sign over by the bathroom area because they have a little bit of a bathroom. It's a composting toilet, but a toilet if you feel inclined to use it. There was a sign over there that was just talking about like there's alligators present in the area, and I was like, oh shoot. Like I mentioned, I'm from West Coast. We don't have alligators in our water like maybe Georgia or Florida does. And so I was looking out the back doors while I was in my bed, basically about to get ready for the day. And I just see this little dude floating in the water, and I was like, oh. So it's pretty funny that there's alligators and things actually really in these waters, and it's not just jokes. I had to move from my original spot. I had parked a little bit further over there originally, but the Starlink needs the sky. So that's another thing. If you're looking to get a Starlink for your van, or if you're looking to do any type of off-grid type of living, getting a Starlink comes with its pros and cons. One of the cons is that you need a clear view of the sky for it to work. So there's that. I've been meaning to make this video also for a while now too. Just every one of us is different, and we all spend money differently. I myself don't like to eat out too much because it doesn't fill me up most of the time, and it's expensive. And it's expensive and it's not good for you. So today I would just be telling you guys a little bit about my spending, the money that I've been spending while I've been on the road, and what a month of spending kind of looks like for me. So last month, January, wasn't my typical month of van life. I did a little bit more traveling on the front end, and then it kind of slowed down on the back end. But I'll basically be using January as my example of what a month of spending looks like for me doing van life. The month of January for me was a pretty busy month. I did a lot of jumping around. I seen about 9 states, driving and flying to. And then overall, I was just all over the place. I believe in the month of January alone, I mainly was in Arizona, New York, and in Georgia. And there's a bunch of states in between. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So for the first category, we have home. So in this category, there's not really too much because I didn't really have too much to take care of in terms of home repairs and home issues. So $63, and that for me isn't necessarily typical. Things that happened in January don't necessarily happen. Like there's not always going to be leaks in the roof, and so $63 is for the month of January. So travel. So with travel in this expense, it was just my my train passes basically, because I was in New York, so I was just on and off the train. So this was just the expense that I spent on traveling using the train. My flight that I booked, I believe I used my miles to pay for that flight. So credit card miles, so nothing came out of pocket to pay for that flight. So that's the reason why it's not entered in there. Moving on, we have gas. So as I mentioned, I drove from Arizona to Georgia, and so that's a bit of driving. So I spent a good amount of money on gas, and then also while I was in Georgia, drove around a good amount, just seeing different sites and jumping around and having some fun. So I spent $526 in the month of January on gas alone. Eating out. So we're being vulnerable here, right? We listen and we don't judge. Yeah, I spent almost $400 eating out. My back was talking and I was listening. All right, we're gonna do better this month, I hope. Shopping. So shopping was just little things from Amazon, and I believe I went to Ross a few times. This is also not typical for me. I don't really spend money in terms of shopping, going to Amazon, Ross, department stores, Walmart, and all that. I usually have what I need. Next category is auto. So back when I was doing some of my maintenance, I did an oil change and changed my spark plugs. So that's why that number is 105. I spent $105 on maintenance last month, which isn't, again, typical. You don't need to do an oil change every single month, but like I mentioned, I drove from Arizona to Georgia, and then on top of that, my spark plugs, I had no idea if they've ever been changed. I had no idea when the last time they were changed, so I was like, I might as well do it myself. It's a pretty simple thing to do, and it's not very difficult, so I took care of that. Groceries. Here we go again. Hi, it's me, Senior Big Back. I almost spent $700 last month on food. We're gonna do better this month. I'm trying my best. My storage unit, I have a storage unit in Arizona. They keep raising the prices on me for some reason, but it's at $150 a month, and so I spent $152 last month on my storage unit, and that's not necessarily typical. It used to be cheaper than that, but they keep raising the price, so I need to go back to Arizona and close it out. Internet, $50 on Starlink. I was doing the 50 gigabyte plan, so $50 on Starlink, and that's taken care of. Subscriptions, editing, gym, and then music. So all of those across the board ran me about $90. I do have some high subscriptions, but only one of those subscriptions I'm paying annually. So in the month of January, I had to pay for it, and it was one of my editing softwares. So January, I guess you could say, started the year off a little bit hot. I'm hoping that we cool things down throughout the year. Insurance. My insurance is about $100 a month, $105 a month. I have insurance through Romley. They covered my van as a camper conversion as a Class B, I believe, camper van. And yeah, my insurance is pretty low. I've seen people paying upwards of like $400, $500 a month. I'm very blessed to see that I'm not paying those prices, because would I pay them? No. Now we're getting down to the grand total. Now again, for me, January was a bit more of an expensive month because I did a lot more traveling, I did a lot more eating out, and then also I was jumping around a whole lot more than I typically would be. So I feel like I did spend a lot more money in January than I normally would. And for me, seeing this number at the bottom of this sheet, I'm like, oh man, we gotta do better for these following months, because if I want to be able to support myself and better support myself and take care of myself on the road, I need to have positive spending habits. And from what I've been seeing and what I saw last month, I wasn't really doing that, having good spending habits. So $1,709. Now, of course, there's no cents in here. It'd probably round up to like $1,710 or $11, but to me, that's expensive. Now, that's a fraction of what I used to spend back when I was living in an apartment and a house. But overall, to do all the traveling that I did, to eat all the food that I had ate, and to go see all the sites that I've seen, it's not the worst. At the end of the day, if I was to spend about $2,000 a month on average, I would spend $24,000 at the end of the year. And with a normal, decently paying job, especially if you're working remotely, it's pretty affordable. So for me, van life has been pretty affordable, especially since I have been doing things to make money, which is another thing that I could talk about in another video if you guys would like to know. If you'd like to know, drop some comments down below of how I make money and how I afford van life. But overall, $1,700 for the month of January isn't the worst. It's not the best. I know I can do better, and of course there is some cuts that I can make, especially with eating out. I'm not gonna be eating out that much. I really didn't know it was that bad, honestly. If you need help with budgeting and you're living out of your vehicle, or you're a digital nomad like myself and you need help with budgeting, feel free to let me know. Click the link in the description and check out the SKOOL community group, because we're going to have a bunch of resources on budgeting as well, because it is very, very important to know how to budget and to budget properly, because I myself did not set a budget for January, and look where that hit me and look where that had me. I overspent about $700. I can easily see where that was between gas and eating out, because I was doing a lot more driving. But overall, I'm not too upset with these numbers. They're not the worst. They definitely could be better. But I'm very, very glad I was able to share this information with you all. And as a means of transparency, I'm 25 years old. I live and travel for myself, converted camper van full time. I am either in country or out of country. There's, really no in between. And when I'm in this country, I'm spending, on average $1,000 a month, if not $1,000 to $1,200 a month while living out of my van. Just because that's what my average goal is, and that's what I set my budget to support. And so if you want to know more about how I'm budgeting and the ways in which that budgeting can effectively help you, this can really help you in any facet of life, because budgeting is really, really important, especially if you're on a fixed income. Feel free to click the link in the description like I mentioned earlier. I look forward to seeing you guys later, and I'm going to go now enjoy some more of this campground because I have a little bit of free time. For lunch today, I will be having leftovers. So I just threw what I made the other day back into the pan. It is some teriyaki chicken and fried rice. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it smells great. It smells absolutely great. I've really been enjoying, hold on, finding it. Just being outdoors. It's always a great time to be outdoors because why not? I feel like just on average, we as humans spend so much time indoors that we start to lose like touch with reality and really the outdoors. So I've been enjoying spending time today outside. So I'm gonna hop on my skates. I haven't been on those bad boys in a minute. A lot of you guys found me when I was just on my skates, skating around, I believe it was Tempe Town Lake, and having some fun out there in Phoenix. So it's gonna be like a little bit of a nostalgic moment because that was almost exactly a year ago. Let me finish making this food, and then I'm gonna sit, eat, and then I might as well just break those skates out and go for a little ride. Let's see if I can do this without spilling anything. And side note, this isn't sponsored, but I've been taking it upon myself to try and do a little bit of a detox and remove just impurities from my body. And so I've been taking, also with body odor too, reducing body odor. That is always going to be something that I feel like I am going to be trying at, because sometimes we get stinky, dude. Doesn't matter how many times you shower, doesn't matter how many times you brush your teeth. Sometimes we get a little smelly. And if you're not part of the crew, I guess you're not. Skedaddle. But I've been taking these drops of chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll. And I used to add them to my water, but last night I added them to my lemonade. And honestly, I didn't taste it at all. It doesn't really taste like anything. It just tastes like mint and a little bit of dirt. I add 15 drops. You're just about good to go from there. The only thing is, though, I will not mention that it does stain. So if it gets in anything, get it out and wash it out really, really quick, because otherwise it'll leave a bit of a stain. It's about that time. It is about that time. I have been waiting all day. Because as soon as I got the idea to pick up my skates, I got excited. All right. Let's try not to fall while putting these on. I feel like I'm that one unemployed friend on a Tuesday, just doing stuff. Cause like, what am I doing? Look at this place. The best part about this is I really have an interview in like an hour. It is so beautiful out here. And like quiet, besides from me. And honestly, it's really, really a blessing to be able to explore. And I really do implore each and every one of you that's watching this video to get out and do something active. You know, they always say, use it or lose it. And I really feel like that applies the more and more that you get older in age. And I'm not very old myself, but I can easily see how if you don't use your extremities, you'll lose the abilities to use them, essentially. Like, I can't imagine a day where I can't just get up and go for a walk because my legs stopped working really, and my body just really isn't working out. And I really pray that that isn't anyone's reality, and if it is your reality, I'm sure there's still things that you can do. So if you have the time today, try and get out and be active. Just check out this spot that I'm at. There's like this old abandoned building way over there. And then you can see it's pretty flat. And there's trees everywhere. And then there's a sign. I'm at Rude Creek Park. If you want to know where I was at. Last time you see this, I will definitely not be here. But this is just nice, man. Take a day to just breathe. To enjoy the day. Take some time to just enjoy the day. And then take some time to just breathe. Life doesn't always need to be so serious. It says speed limit of 15. See if I can beat that. Imagine you're stressing out about life and you're like 20 minutes from a place like this or 30 minutes. Is it not worth it to come take a breather, take a step away from all the things that are bothering you and stressing you out? I personally would think so. And I would hope so. Because it's worth it. Shout out my guy Colin. Alright, let me stop playing. Get ready for this interview. Like I mentioned, I wanted to come down here to this dock and just get a look of how things are on the water. I don't want to jump in this water because I've already seen alligators in here, but this is really, really nice. And it just makes me appreciate the different types of landscapes that are out here. Like, this is so cool. If it falls apart and I fall in, at least you guys saw me before I went. But this is really nice. When I woke up this morning, there was a little alligator not too far from my door. And I think I see one now out in the lake a little bit, but he's a ways away. Let me get back to this van. You don't have to worry about me. I'm just about packing up.
You about to go?
Yes, sir.
Where you from?
I'm California.
Really?
Yes, sir. What about you?
We from here. Country ass Alabama.
So I have a little bit of driving ahead of me, and that's never an issue because we're off to the next adventure. If you enjoyed what you've seen, like, comment, subscribe. Love interacting with you all. And if you didn't enjoy what you've seen, do the same. Send it to your friends, actually. Make sure that they don't enjoy what they see. I'm just kidding. I'll see you guys on the next one. Mike